Globally, businesses and corporations are faced with challenges that requires fresh thinking on strategy, leadership, and governance to survive. The Anchor is a program designed to help organizations and individuals to be skilled in handling challenges. Join Dr. Osare Emopai, a development economist and a corporate strategist, for this interactive, informative, educative program.
I want to welcome you to today's episode of The Anchor. In the previous episodes, we spent time to discuss the deficiency needs within the frameworks of security architecture, strategic security architecture. We are going to now go on break and we'll be back shortly.
Are you a small business owner, a trader, a school owner, a federal civil servant, a Lagos or Edo civil servant, a farmer or a farm supply merchant? Do you need a loan or wish to fix your money for a high yield interest? Talk to us today and get your loan in less than 24 hours. Visit our website on www.lapo-nigeria.org or call us on 0813-984-0230. Email info@lapo-nigeria.org.
So welcome back. In the previous episodes, we focused on the deficiency needs in security architecture. Today, we are going to be focusing on the growth need in framing strategic security architecture for our nation and for our people and even for our own lives. It's my pleasure to welcome back to the studio, to my right, Mr. Ebi Tebepina, who will be with us for this discussion today, and Mrs. Imososa Emopai, who is also with us. Welcome onto today's episode.
Thank you, sir.
Now, when we were looking at the deficiency needs, you remember we did say that once those needs are not met, you can't be secured physically. There is no nation on earth that can deal with physical security without first dealing with all those deficiency needs. So it is sheer lack of knowledge and wisdom, and sometimes foolishness, to begin to pursue a security architecture that is anchored on physical security without first dealing with deficiency needs. Having food security, having social security, having health security, without dealing with all those, we're just wasting time. We're just wasting time, wasting resources. That is where we are going to be focusing. We are moving on now onto the growth need. What is really a growth need? The way that Maslow captured it, I want to just give that first, and then we'll then be going on to the conversation. And Maslow called it, what a man can be, he must be. What a man can be, he must be. Maslow explained, referring to the need that people have to achieve their full potential as human beings. Their full potential as human beings. So you then see that what he was calling self-actualization. It may be loosely described as the full use and exploitation of all the talents, the capabilities, and the potential of everyone. What you tend to find in that is that these self-actualization needs are linked to the Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations. The numbers 12 to 16 of those development goals can actually be tied onto this growth need. For instance, Growth 12, how to talk about climate action, how to deal with climate, life below water, life over the land, peace and justice, strong institutions. All these feed into these self-actualization needs. And so we will be focusing on this one in the course of this discussion. Mr. Ebi, Tabepina, we just linking these development, the sustainable development goals that the United Nations is giving onto the different nations 2015. It's about the 6th year now. And we are saying that the 4, from 12 to 16 of those one, in some way can be linked to even this growth need that Maslow put forward. How do you see this?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. The remaining 4, that like you rightly mentioned, sir, situate itself in that growth need, which is that at that point you are able to do. Let's take how you even define it. Said a man can be what he must be. At that point, you think of it, you are working towards achieving it. Things are easy. But before you get to that level, it's those divisioning must have been
Dealt with.
It must have been dealt with before you come to that level of thinking of something. I need this. I need to achieve this, and you are working it out to getting it done.
Yes.
So for these other last 4 sustainable goals, it has to first and foremost, like we rightly said, is to achieve those divisioning needs. Then we'll now move on to the growth needs.
So we can achieve our full potential.
Yes.
Madam, maybe you want to, look at those issues, those potentials, and
Yeah, just like Pepe rightly said, if you are struggling with the first 4 levels, you can't be thinking of the growth need because the strength is not there, the resources are not there.
Yes.
In fact, when you think of it, you discuss it with other people, they may even be wondering what is wrong with you. You remember what we are always referring to in Ecclesiastes, that a poor man saved the nation and it was forgotten. But if he's a rich man, somebody who has achieved the 4 levels, everybody will embrace it. So you really have to deal with the deficiency needs before you come to this growth level, because then you have a bit more of the knowledge, you have the strength, you have the confidence to say, yes, this is where we should be going, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. Then you also have the resources to do it.
Yes. So you see that when we talk about security architecture, now you've made those basic needs. People now have food security. Anytime, you will not say, today is my day to eat, tomorrow is for you. No. He eats 3 times a day if he wants. If he's fasting, he can eat once a day. So there is food. You are not looking for food. You have a home where you can sleep. When you are sick, you don't need to be looking for a herbalist or babalawo or whatever. You know that science can deal with your health. And then you go in, and it is free. You don't pay for medical attention. And for people of faith, they know that they have a social security in terms of, go to your pastor, go to your place and pray, and you walk in faith and you are trusting God, because that has to do with social need, in terms of the way we relate to society in communities. And you then get onto that. So once you've made all those security, you are secured. Let's use that word. Secured in all those areas. It is then you then say, no, I want to actualize myself. I want to go to the moon. I want to go to the moon. You see some young children say, I want to go to the moon. You see now Galactica. People are already paying money. They say they want to go to Mars. So they are paying money already to go to Galactica. Will a hungry man under Ojo Elegba bridge, can that person say he wants to go to the man?
By faith.
There is no faith. Faith cannot. It can't happen. So the man at Ojo Elegba, why is his business under the bridge there of saying, I want to go to Mars?
It's not his food. He must eat.
The man has not eaten. There's nowhere to put his head. Nobody will marry him because he has nothing. He won't have a spouse. So which wife want to go suffer ahead, want to be struggling, you know? So you want a good wife, you want these things. You know, if not the Holy Spirit that is touching, you know, some of our sisters in this, a lot of people won't get in the church. You won't get wife. You say you have no money. You get what I'm saying? So these are the issues. So you find that getting a wife is required for your own social security. Because your spouse or husband, because your spouse is there to support you at very challenging emotional and social time. When you are in very challenging time, they are there to support you. So those needs, and that is why those needs should be prioritized in Nigeria. Because the discussion we are bringing out is that Nigeria as a country should prioritize those basic needs first and ensure that by that 2030, we've been able to deal with all those needs. And then we can now begin to now move on to these growth needs. But you know, the truth about it is that you can actually do the two side by side. Because there are already people who themselves have already met those basic, although there are very few, maybe about 10% of our population are actually there. About 10% of the population are already there. Then if you take it a little further to the upper middle class or the middle class now, maybe you can take it to about 30% of our population. So those people can begin to think of science, and they want to go to the moon, you want to do something, you want to, you want to research things, and you want to be what you are. You can go and take 3 degrees, like Kwame did, doctorate, or you become, whatever you want to do with your life. Is that you are allowed to realize your full potential on this side of eternity, because for everyone there's a purpose, and in one of our programs we discussed about purpose, and said purpose is at 3 levels. There's the macro purpose, you then have the paradigm, the macro and the micro purpose. For you to be able to really fulfill your micro purpose, you must then begin to deal with the growth need. That is your point of significance. That way you can actually make a difference in the world. So you need to be able to work in that area of growth needs. Now, as we said, those growth needs, I don't know whether you want to link strong institutions. Because in this growth need, you need strong institutions, not strong men. Because strong men will come and die. But strong institutions don't die. So maybe you want to speak on these strong institutions. How do we develop these strong institutions? From governance, strong institutions in government, strong institutions in private, public partnership, strong institutions that can actually ensure that this growth need and the growth security can actually come to play, in meeting the entire 17 sustainable goals. Because at the end, those sustainable goals is to end poverty, is to make sure countries are all secured. That's the issue. So I don't know whether I want to say something on that.
Yes, sir. The taking it from the angle of building strong institutions, it's like when you begin to work towards in such a way that even if it's an individual, I will take an organization for instance. I'm not sure if I'm permitted to mention, but the Avila Group. There is already a sustainable plan that is put in place, focusing on structures rather than the individual. Even if the CEO decides to move on and say, okay, I want to do another business, the structures are already there to ensure that the organization moves on. There are very few that one can mention to ensure that they build this institution in such a way that it is not about them, is this institution living after them. And that is how we can grow as a nation. That is where that growth can come in. As a nation, we are not looking at, okay, I want to stay in the office for 8 years. What happens after that 8 years? Those parastatals, the structure is in place in such a way that anybody taking over from you For instance, maybe the state, Lagos State, any other government coming taking over, the structure is already there to ensure that these sustainable goals are actualized. It's not an issue of okay, I am there. The issue of greed, like we mentioned, I'm there, so I just need to grab all I need to grab. It's not about the person, but it's about ensuring that the foundation of that institution is built, and any other person coming in just fits in easily without any rancor or without any abnormalities. So that is just it. I don't know if Madam wants to add.
Yeah, like you said, it will not be an individual thing. An individual may be the visionary. An individual may be somebody who has the idea. That structure you mentioned has to be on ground to build a strong institution. And other people just come in, they fit in. Like maybe if we want to use some organization in Nigeria, for instance, some don't live for more than 10 years or a few years. Sometimes when the owner dies, it's gone. But for strong institution where there is a structure, you see, it continues. Continuity, I want to look at it like that. There'll be continuity. And that is what makes it a strong institution. People come and go. But the vision is still pursued.
Okay, so we are still talking about security architecture, strategic security. That the only way, when he was looking at these goal between goals 12 and 16 in the sustainable goals, he said we need strong institutions. Now, let's just, for the purpose of this, what was happening in America, where the president asked the vice president to nullify the election. President Trump said the vice president should go and nullify. The vice president, the institution is there. My own is ceremony. I'm just there to count the vote and go away. Then he then spoke to all these people in electoral college. The people said, anywhere where this man has won, we'll give all the votes. That is the institution. It doesn't matter, soldier go, soldier come. That is the institution. Why Nigeria is so backward in development is our institutions are weak. For instance, Chief Awolowo developed the Western Development. There was this development corporation he developed that was to sustain the development momentum of the West. The Odua investments, the WND, there were so many things. He was trying to set up an institution that after he was gone, this vision for the West to be a leading light for this country to continue. So I will put this institution in place because people will come with different ideas. But come in, you go away. But when the institutions are strong, the goal and the vision of the organization, like Madam said, will be achieved. So these goals, to take us to be secured, to be able to move through life and to be secure in every area, and you are progressing forward, that individuals, when you have people like Trump, they can truncate anything. In fact, he could just do anything to America. But because of the institutions, they are wedging him. He's unable to do those things. And that is why the focus in Nigeria should be on institutions. Let's look at the institutions to actually in this country today. To achieve this, for instance. Now, there was somebody who was thinking in that light, and in one of the states, he then created Ministry of Happiness. He created Ministry of Happiness. But he did not know that without the backing institutions, it was just wasting time. You remember the state? It was Ministry of Happiness. But it was going the right direction. That you really need a happy people to be productive people, to be people who are secure. So he actually got the idea, but he didn't really know how to put it in a sustainable manner. So sustainability is so important when you're setting these goals. And institutions are what will help you to sustain them. Individual cannot. Individuals, we are all mortals. Sometimes we will die, we will go away. institutions don't die. Institutions will ensure that the organization is going on to achieve this goal. So that is why the issue of strong institution is so important. At this point, I want to, we're going on a break now, and we shall be back shortly.
Concord Security Services provides impeccable security services to its diverse clients, from banking to telecoms, from international examination institutions to big restaurants. Our emphasis on the use of cutting-edge technology to provide solutions to prevalent security challenges gives us a competitive edge in the industry. Our array of services include man guarding, CCTV, perimeter fencing, full body scanners, metal detectors, VIP protection, escort services, due diligence, and event security. We offer extensive trainings to our security personnel to improve their physical fitness, mental alertness, and exceptional skills in managing complexity at our 2 training centers in Ed John School of Management and in Ilasa office. Engage our services today and let us give you peace of mind. Concord Security and Protocol Services Limited is located at 25 Abiyakuta Street off Beliat Bus Stop, Ilasamaja, Oshodi, Apapa Expressway, Lagos. Telephone
0805 690 8568
or 0805 119 9931. Send a mail to info@concordsecurityng.com or visit our website at www.concordsecurityng.com.
Okay, we want to welcome you back and thank you for being a part of this show today. Madam, there's this thing that was said about Solomon. It was said that everything that God put in his heart, he was able to achieve.
Yeah.
You know about these sustainable goals, when people actualizing themselves. How do you tie that scripture? How do you tie that what was said about Solomon? Whether it's scripture, whether it's history, whatever it is. How do we tie that into this grand framework that we are working at?
We'll also be looking at the fact that he had gone through the deficiency need and was now in the growth need.
Yes.
And so he already had a lot. And so he could dream of something that he wanted to do, and he had all the resources to do it. So that is the way.
No, you are probably right, because you see, you cannot be saying you want to go to the moon when you are sick. You can't even treat yourself. You know, you can't say you are going to somewhere when the basic needs have not been met. So the way Solomon said that if that was put in his heart, he had resources to achieve it. That is a man who actually went through all the 5 levels of a Maslow hierarchy of needs. But you know, his own was that those four deficiency needs were already provided by the father. The father already provided everything for him. So it was now for him not to actualize himself. The father had done all that. That's why sometimes we look at foundation. Because whose child you are can actually determine how you can begin, how you can be secured socially, emotionally, financially. Whose child you are can actually determine. So because he was child of David, and David had prepared everything, Solomon had everything. But having had everything, he wasn't prepared to stop there. He wanted to actualize himself. And how did he do it? He then, we want to build this, we want to do this, we want to do that. And you know, so many, the Queen of Sheba came and were breaking all kinds of gold and silver. The Arabian kings, all of them came, they want to come and see what was happening. Why? Because there was so much security in, because if you look at the Arabians, they were really no friends of the Jews. They were not. But why will their kings now come? And they come and want to share. Because the Jews, they had actually made the basic need. There was no security problem of being afraid that when the Arabians come, they will fight them. or do what? Because those basic needs have been met. You know? And these Arabian, they were say Arabian kings, if you connect them to Ishmael in some way, because God said he was to bless the children. And those Arabian kings were also wealthy. They had things. And they came to want to come and see. So the issue of growth need is related to so many things. But you see, without getting to that level, you cannot be fully secured as a country, as individuals. You cannot. So there will be a disconnect. There will be a lacuna. They call it a lacuna. There will be a disconnect, between what you have vision for and then what you are protected to pursue. You then begin to have that. So, and the issue, Dweck also spoke on this growth mindset. You grow and all that on the fixed mindset. Fixed mindset tend to focus on all those elementary needs. When the growth mindset is focused on realizing. Now, I want to take the last item on the sustainable goals. If you look at the last item there, that is very, very big. That's the last item I want us to treat now. Within that architecture, it's a partnership to achieve the goals. That is really huge. And we'll be inviting people actually to the studio as a part of developing this, yes. We'll be inviting people to the studio who we know can actually make contribution in this area. Partnership to achieve those goals. Because the United Nations recognize that there is really no nation on earth who can just achieve all of them without the help of another. So, and that's why they put it at the 17th. And so I want us to discuss that partnership. So how do we look at that partnership in terms of that, if you are like looking at composite security, strategic security for a country? How do we look at this partnership to achieve all those goals? And when we're able to do that, then we can actually say we are secure. We are dealt with the fundamentals, the underlying conditions, and we require partnership. So, can you, madam, you want to contribute in that area?
Partnership is going to be on a very large scale, starting from the grassroots. Like in those days we will say a child belongs to everyone, and so bringing up a child, every member of the community will be involved. And so in doing all this, if we talk of food, we need to involve the traditional rulers. I remember when we were growing up, our governor then, Ogbemudia, would go to every community to take a land and start farming. And at the time of harvest, they also give to the villagers. It was in that way empowering the people. And then there was cooperation from the traditional rulers to give him land. There was cooperation from the women, the men who were now farming, who were now reaping the harvest and everything. I am not sure they were paying much or a lot back to the government. I think what Samuel Ogbemudia was interested in that time was empowering the people. And so talking of this partnership, that is why I say it's going to be in a very large scale. Yeah. You start from the grassroots. We go to the traditional rulers, go to the local government, before even going to partnership with international organization. I think what we do now, most of the time, is partnership with international organization. If we come back to security also, the traditional ruler, the local people, they know the members of the family, the community members, yes. And those can be controlled. Yes. And so in partnership, we have a lot to deal with there. Yes. And then dealing with institutions that are interested or are involved in some of these areas that we want to tackle with. Let's tackle, for instance, in education, not just only the Ministry of Education, the private institutions. We can partner with private, the government can partner with private institutions instead of frustrating them, giving them things that are unachievable to start a school or to maintain a school. I would like the other
Yes,
people
okay.
to put it.
Yes.
Just
Right.
taking off from where mom is stopped. That partnership, like you said, is if we concentrate on that alone, we'll be able to achieve a lot as a country. Taking it from that good level, and it's dealing with all aspects. For instance, there's a private partnership between an organization and the government. What stops the government from looking at, okay, doing with a tax reduction for that organization, just to achieve the ultimate goal of meeting some of these needs? That is in partnership.
Yes.
Like Madam said, not trying to frustrate. But you see a private organization trying to do that, the government officials are now even more demanding you need to do this, you need to pay this.
Yes.
So all that are frustrating levels of frustrations that will make a private organization not to want to partner with the government. I'll give an instance, and for like I won't mention them, but I'll just give an example using that. There was a church, I won't mention the name, that wanted to construct a road, give access to a particular location, a particular community. The government frustrated it. Even the community people frustrated. They were demanding for money. So it's all encompassing. The government, the community, and what we must all come together to partner to ensure that we achieve this ultimate. If you have good access, good road, we're talking about your car not being destroyed within seconds or within minutes, and all that. The access to food and all that.
In dealing with the security needs, and particularly the composite strategic architecture, we need partnership. We need partnership between private sector, public sector. We need partnership with the community. We need partnership with traditional rulers. We need all this partnership. We need everybody being brought to the table to be a part of this. It is through this partnership, I would also call it strategic partnership, and even tactical partnership. It is through this partnership that we can develop and implement a comprehensive strategic security architecture for our country that will ensure that we all work in safety, that everywhere we go, that we are secured. That is where we want to bring to a close today's episode of The Anchor. We want to thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Until we come your way again, you play your own part in making sure that Nigeria is a more secure country. You do your part. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Mindshare Communications Limited is a world-class marketing, communications, and branding consultancy firm located in Lagos State, Nigeria. We offer a wide array of consultancy and promotional services to corporate businesses and firms. Our services include strategic marketing activities, public relations, advertising, social media management, digital marketing, web development, brand development, marketing activation, strategic branding, market intelligence activities, and telecoms, ranging from CUG management to airtime vending.
Call Mindshare Communications today to help you achieve your goals. For further information, please contact Abiola on 0807 739 0974. Send a mail to info@mindsharelimited.com or visit our website at www.mindsharelimited.com. Address 184A Kaduna Road, Crystal Estate, and Mowadofi Estate, Lagos.